Sharpening and caring for your billhook. Right, this isn't training, not telling you should do what I do, this is just the way I do it. I've been using hooks for more than 40 years, ever since I started being responsible for the kindling for my parents when I was 6 or 7, and that was our sole heating, was an open fire or paraffin heaters. So, first thing is, how do I know my billook's sharp? Obviously, you can run your thumb along it or your finger and test it that way. You'd be silly, because if it is sharp and if you get jostled and you're not very careful, you're going to gut yourself. Other thing to do is use the walls of your fingerprints to interact with the edge very, very gently to see if it's sharp. If they catch, it's sharp. If it runs over it and it feels smooth, it's blunt. But the best thing to do is to look at it. If you look at the edge on this hook, which I've been using recently, you might see where my thumbnail is. There's bright spots. Do you see that? Where it's bright, there's either a nick, like there, or you can see the top of the blade, the top of the edge, which means it's blunt. If you can't see the top of the edge, it's sharp. So how do I sharpen it? You can use a file. This is a mill saw file, which when sharp cuts fairly finely. This one's actually been mutated and turned into a parting tool for use on a pole lathe. This is where I need 3 hands. And basically you set your hook with the left hand holding it and the right hand end on your knee, and you can do that. And you can see that even the best quality hook should just be fileable. You can see here it's made bright shiny bits on that edge. But the best way is to use a stone. I use these stones. This is a very old cigar stone, canoe stone, so called because of the shape, and it's very fine. Look for the fine ones. Ones you buy in shops tend to be very rough. If it's your own hook, apply a little bit of spit, not if it's someone else's hook or somebody else's stone. Do that off camera. And then you use it like that. So you're working from the back of the edge, with the edge facing away from you. And you're aiming to work over the whole of the cutting edge. Let's show you with a rusty one. So, a little bit of spit. The mucopolysaccharides in the spit make an excellent cutting fluid. And what you'd never seek to do is work from this side working in, because if you slip and your hook's sharp, you're going to take your fingers off. Best if you wear a glove on this sharpening hand, so you remove 99% of the risk. What happens if I've got 2 edges on my blade? So Yorkshire billhook. Can't really hold this one really firmly because it's just too big to squeeze between my knees. Watch your fingers on this back edge. Wear a glove. And again, you're working over the whole of this edge, so a long canoe stone is good, or if I can find it, if you've got a short stone like this little sharpening stone, you're working over here, you're away from this back edge. When you get to the corner, let's go back to this one so you can see hold it between my feet because I really need a tripod. Work it around like that. So a bit spit, and it will go around the corner. And again, you're working over the whole of the edge, not at that sort of angle. It might take longer in inverted commas, although it's no difference if you've got the thing actually sharp. But if you do that, you'll modify the edge of the hook. Let me show you. Right, draw the drawing. Hopefully you can see here that this is what you might think you're aiming for to get a really sharp edge. So gradually tapering, nice and flat, with a really sharp edge, which you can see here basically in cross section. If you do that, you are true going to get a sharp edge. And that's the situation on this hook here. It's only got a little bit of a taper on it, a little bit of a chamfer or a curve. If you have that situation, if your edge is very hard, you're more likely to break bits off, as has happened here. You see those two nicks missing out of it? If it's a little bit soft, you'll knock the edge over, you'll curve it over. So it won't stay sharp for long, and you'll end up with more damage in the long run. This is what you're aiming at. You're looking at this outer edge here, so the edge of the thing is curved. If you sharpen right on the edge, as I showed you a moment ago, so here, you're taking away this metal to end up with a curve like this, which might have a sharp edge, and it might be very well supported, where this one isn't, but it's not going to stay sharp for very long, and it's more like to bounce out of your cut. Let me show you on this thing. Put this down so I don't cut myself with it. This is a froe, spelled F-R-O-E. It's a cleaving or riving tool, and it does have an edge, but it's not swung. It's placed on the workpiece and hit with a wooden mallet. If you look at it in section, hopefully you'll be able to see that it's got that sort of section which you saw me drawing with the shoulders on it. That's deliberate because you need as much support for that edge as possible. You need a sharp edge to start it, and then you work with it like that, so you're constantly rolling it in the timber. If your edge is unsupported, you'll break it off or turn it over. If you've got shoulders like this, which you often find on a new billhook, brand new, or an old billhook that's not been sharpened properly, you've got to grind all these shoulders away to get back to this dotted line, which gives you this original profile. And that is a good compromise between supporting the edge, having it sharp, and also so it doesn't bounce out of the cut, which it will do with shoulders on, or stick in the cut, which it will tend to do when it's like this. Hope that makes sense. Right, caring for the tool with a nice piece of rag while it's still wet, not dried out like this one. Basically wipe your grit off, working from the outside past the edge, not this way. Then apply a little bit of, I use vegetable oil. What I got here is some chain oil, which these days is vegetable, and a little bit and often with a little bit of rag, working like this, and also to the handle. You apply oil to the handle to stop it going like this one. See, it's gone all crispy with the years, and it's got brittle and it's split. Don't apply too much oil, especially if you're using something like linseed oil. The oil can get slippery, and linseed can actually get tacky. So what you find is that the billhook sticks to your your lily white hands, and if you've got no calluses, it'll take your skin, top surface of your skin off. Very uncomfortable. In transit, a cover for your hook is good. And this is a bit of an ancient Wellington boot my grandfather sorted out for his own hook. It goes in like that, and that protects you from the sharp edge, and it protects the sharp edge from other things it might contact. That's my version, and that's what happens to old bikers' old leather jackets when they die. They get turned into billhook covers and axe covers. It goes in like that. Last little note, this is a cigar stone, which is for use with scythes. They tend to be very, very rough. This is one that was my granddad's, and he's actually used it with his scythe, and he's used it on this edge all the time. He's preferred it for some reason. Reason you don't like a rough stone for a precision tool like a billhook, and they are precision tools, is because you can't get as good an edge on it and can't get as good a finish on your cut surfaces. Using a really rough cigar stone or a really rough canoe stone, you might just as well be rubbing it with a brick. Combination stones. I don't sharpen my hooks on combination stones because I like mine to be flat, because I use those to sharpen chisels. And for a chisel to do precision work, you need the edge to be dead straight as well as sharp. And you see they're called combination stones because they're a combination of two different grits. This is the fine, this is the rough, and this one you can see, this came from a car boot sale. It's got a hollow in this edge, so it's no good for sharpening chisels. What you can do is, if you find a really rough dished one in a car boot sale, you can take that out in the woods and you can use that to sharpen your billhooks or your axes. I tend not to use circular axe stones because holding it like that, one or other of your fingers is always a bit adjacent to your cutting edge. Right, I hope that was interesting and useful, and you can use that to make a decision about how you manage and care for your hooks in the future. Thank you very much.